Matheus Lucas is another promising dual national Brazilian-American playing abroad. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Academies TV, and welcome to another player interview. And today we're going to talk to Matheus Lucas in his very first interview. So yeah, he's a Brazilian-American that plays for the Flamingo Academy, one of the most prestigious academies in the world that developed Vinicius Jr. and many other players that are becoming world-class right now. So sit back, relax, enjoy. You're going to get to know Matheus Lucas before anyone else here in Academies TV. Hit that like button to support the channel. Obviously, I won't be requesting during the interview. So that's all I have to say. Let's play the intro and let's bring in Matheus. All right, everyone. Today we have another special guest here on the channel, Matheus Lucas. He is Brazilian-American. He currently plays for the Flamingo Academy in Brazil, which we're going to talk about in the interview, but I'm not going to talk about you. We're going to let you talk about you. So, Matheus, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Right now I'm on break actually, and it's been good. It's been kind of a weird month, I guess, but like a lot of things going on. But I'm just glad I'm back home in New Jersey right now on break. Spent Christmas with the family, and yeah, I'm just enjoying it. Resting a little bit.
So, Matheus, let's go by parts here so all the viewers can get to know you. Obviously, they don't have much information. Some have heard of you. How old are you right now, just for starters?
So I'm 16 years old right now.
16. And you're playing right now for the Flamengo U16s or U18s?
So the year's about to end right now. So I was playing for the 16. So starting on January, it's gonna be U17.
U17.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the first topic of this video. You were born in the United States and you grew up in the United States, correct?
Yeah.
And where was that? Where did you play soccer? Obviously, the reason you play soccer and love soccer is your parents are Brazilian, so it's
Yeah.
almost like a must there. I would know that too. But where did you play? How did you develop soccer? And then when we finish that, let's talk a little bit more about Flamengo.
All right, so I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, and there's a club there called Iron Mountain Soccer Club, and I started off in like around 4 years old there. So ever since I was 4, I was playing there until I was about 14, 15. That's when I went to St. Benedict's Prep. It's a high school, and they're kind of connected with an academy called Cedar Academy. And then that's when I started playing there. I was playing a year up, so it was good for me. And then that's where I got the opportunity to play MLS next with Cedar Stars Bergen, which is a bit farther from Newark. But that's where I got to play there, and it was a good level, and it was really competitive there. And then after that, I was offered a chance to go to Brazil, and that's how I went to Flamengo.
That's pretty cool. One question in regards to what you talked about the academy, the Cedar Stars Academy. Before joining the academy, along with training soccer at the club level, did you play a lot of pickup, futsal?
A
Did
lot,
any
yeah.
of that? Yeah, very Brazilian.
Yeah,
Where in New Jersey, New York,
in Newark, New
Newark?
Jersey. Yeah, there was a park there. I would go there on my free time whenever I didn't have practice or anything. I would go before practice too sometimes.
Lots of Brazilians.
Lots of Brazilians.
I always tell this to people. I think there's a lot we can develop by playing academy,
Oh,
practicing, training, but nothing beats a bunch of players just playing pickup, developing
yeah,
skills. It's something very underrated and something I
yeah,
think U.S. soccer needs a little bit more um, to help, maybe more. But I'm happy you were able to get that. But so Flamengo, and this is what I'm going to tell people because I lived in Rio de Janeiro for a while, so obviously I know Flamengo well, and I knew some guys that played in the academy there back in 2010, so it's been a while. My question to you is: usually they have what we call in Brazil. You probably heard this term, a peneira, which is essentially a tryout, right, for a bunch of players. But you got scouted. That's what you said, right?
Well, I got basically I have an agent, and he works with someone in the United States. So he he gave me the opportunity to go on a trial.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't already like contracted or anything. I was there basically trying out like there's kids there that go week in, week out, trying out and on trial. So I went, and I was on trial there. I did good, and then they went, and now I'm there. So I'm contracted there. So I'm a player
Uh,
there.
and just for the viewers here that are mostly American, pretty much, Flamengo is one of the biggest academies, not just of Brazil but the world, right? You go
Yeah,
most recently, if people want to know, Vinicius Jr. was a player that came out of the academy, which is one of the best players in the league right now.
yeah.
Lucas Paquetá, that's playing Lyon, and he is in the national team actually right now for Brazil starting. He came from Flamengo. Hanier went to Real Madrid, and many other players, which maybe you'll even know, along with players that play in the Brazilian league that are very successful there. I was just pointing players that are in the world level. So congratulations to that too. So you were scouted, you got the chance, you tried out, and then you made the squad. And for how long have you been in the academy there? A couple months only, right?
I've only been there for a month. I was trying out for. So basically, do you want me to explain how the process is?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. So there's kids, a lot of kids, like I said, a lot of kids go there every week. There's some great footballers. They go in, week out, and the process there is really straight up. They're really professional and straight up. If they saw what they needed to see, they'll tell you, okay, thank you, we don't need you, and stuff like that. Like, they're really straight up. And but if they like you, they'll ask you to stay another week. If they like you that week, they'll ask you to stay another one, until they see what they need to see to determine whether or not you're good enough to like be on the team. And they just kept asking me to stay. So after the third week, that's when they told me, okay, you're in. Like, you've showed what you needed to show. And then the next day there was a cup, and they asked me to travel with them with the other 18 players. So then that was a really good opportunity for me. And then that's basically the first time that I was with the team, with the club, with the players, was the tournament. So it was kind of like weird and rough for me, but like I feel like it was good. So I've been there for 3 weeks as a player. That's it.
Yeah, I also think many people don't understand the cultural shock as well. I know you definitely have a lot of Brazilian in you, right?
Yeah,
Culture wise, just like me. But even when I go to Brazil, it's a little bit different, right? The inside jokes, the environment, the culture, because at the end of the day, we're a little bit of Brazilian from our family, our parents, and then we're much more American. And I don't know if you didn't say it in the interview, but Matheus's English is better than his Portuguese, for example, just so the viewers understand the
yeah,
difference here. It's the same for me too. But congratulations on that too, because I know how tough it is to get into a Flamengo Academy to stay, and now you're going to go back in January, staying away from your family too, because your family's staying in the United
yeah,
States, right?
yeah. So it's kind of hard, but it shouldn't be like too hard to adapt to. I just gotta be in the right mindset. Not let things get to me.
To add a couple things to the viewers, and then gonna finish up on Flamengo. What position you play? What's your strong foot, or are you good with both style of play, so people can know a little bit more about you?
So I play left wing and sometimes centrally, like central forward, but strictly to the left. I'm a fast player. I'm pretty agile, so I like to cut in and shoot. I'm right-footed. I can kind of shoot with my left, but strictly right-footed. And I finish well, so I like to, take my chances. If, say like I'm having a good game, I tend to be a little more selfish, but that's important, I guess.
Pickup culture. It's from
Yeah,
pickup soccer. We tend to do that flair and dribbling. So that was just a quick one. And many viewers probably don't know about this, but there's this tournament in Brazil named the Copa São Paulo, which is the Copinha for youth, which is a massive tournament in Brazil with all the clubs involved. Super talents came out of it in the past. Are you playing it next year or just later? Because I know they're a little bit older. You're
yeah.
still
I
young.
think I think it's U20, so I'm not gonna be playing it next year.
No, next year, but maybe soon or professionally before that. Some players skip the Copinha sometimes,
Yeah,
but usually even legendary players and everything, they've went through that tournament. I'm a Palmeiras fan, so most recently I remember Gabriel Jesus playing the Copinha before he broke out for Palmeiras as well. Hopefully you get the chance to play that. I talked
yeah,
to Johnny Cardoso too. He played the Copinha for Internacional as well. But Mateus, moving on to the video, because all the information you give, even though I grew up in Brazil, I didn't know how the process worked in Flamengo. Before we move on to U.S. men's national team and Brazil national team, where do you stay when you're there? Does Flamengo have an infrastructure for you to stay, or do you have family that you stay with?
So I have a family member in Rio, but he's like an hour away from the facility, and they do have housing there. There's the problem is COVID. That's the only problem.
Mm.
But I was staying in a little spot there nearby, but just for the time that I was there last month. But when I go back, I'm gonna have a place, so everything's gonna be covered and all that. But the only problem is COVID. That's the only issue. So no one's staying there right now.
Is the infrastructure of Flamengo's training facilities? They're pretty good, right? I haven't
Yeah,
visited it actually. Yeah,
really
you're not
professional.
at Gavia. It's not at Gavia, right?
No, no, no.
No.
It's at
Okay.
Ninu. Ninu.
Ninho do Urubu.
Yeah, so
Yes.
that's where like the pros train. Everybody trains there. The
Yeah.
20, 17, 16.
Now, the next topic I want to talk about is you have obviously dual nationals, and I don't know how much you follow the United States soccer here, and we have a lot of dual nationals, right? Mexican Americans, Dutch Americans, German Americans, whatever you want, even Brazilian Americans like Johnny Cardoso and yourself. Have you ever been contacted by the Brazilian Federation or the U.S. Soccer Federation? Have you ever been in any youth teams?
Never. I've never been contacted by any national teams.
Hmm. Yeah, also because you said you pretty much the first big tournament you played was MLS Next, right? That was the
Yeah.
first one. Yeah, that might be one of the reasons too. But here, U.S. Soccer, get in touch with him, please. But yeah, that was one of the questions. And then I don't know if you even have an answer to this. Usually, young players when they came here to the channel, they don't. Do you have a preference for any of the national teams? If they both called up, would you care? Would it depend on the situation?
Yeah, I feel like it would depend on the situation, but like I would be happy anywhere. I would be happy playing anywhere. It's a big accomplishment and it's not easy. But I don't really have a preference.
You
It,
don't.
it
Yeah.
depends as well on the situation.
I understand that too. Now, moving on here in the interview, I wanted to ask a little bit of future goals that you have, right? Obviously, you're going to take it day to day. You just arrived in Flamengo. I thought you were there for a couple months, but it's been a month. So you literally just signed with them, and then
Yes.
you're going to have technically your first full season next year. Long term goal, do you plan on staying in Brazil and trying to become a professional player there? Do you plan on maybe developing there and coming to MLS and becoming a professional in MLS? You haven't thought about it, or what do you want personally?
So personally, I'm still thinking about it, but honestly, I would be happy if I would develop in Brazil and then end up playing in the team there, coming to the MLS, playing here, going anywhere. Honestly, it's just my dream to play pro, and I'm still getting used to Brazil. So
Mm.
if I'm there for a couple years and I'm used to it, it wouldn't really be much of a problem. But in the MLS, it's in the US. That's my home. So like I wouldn't mind playing here. I
Easy,
feel like
right,
it'll
to
be
adjust.
yeah, it'll be way easier to adjust. I'd be home with my family. It's easier for them to see me. I could see them easier, and it's my home, so it's easier to adapt to.
Did you, when you arrived in the academy in Flamengo, this 1 month that you had, and you trained with probably some high quality players? Is there a big difference in the youth development in from what you saw, right? Obviously, you saw a little bit of each. Is there a big difference between the youth development in Brazil and the US in terms of training and player level? What did you notice from that so far?
Yeah, so there's a huge difference. There's a in Brazil, I feel like it's more competitive. It's more, the guys they're more aggressive. They're more like it's a passion for them because in Brazil, it's a passion. Soccer is like everything there. Here in the United States, you have American football, you have basketball, all that stuff. Over there, it's just strictly football, soccer. There's more physicality there, and it's just more aggression. I feel like, but they're both high levels. Depending where you are in the United States, it's a high level of football here as well. It's just it's everywhere. There's a high level. There's like not one place where there's not a high level of football.
So let me see if I got it right. What I understood is the United States has improved so much where we do have a high level closer to the Brazil youth level. The problem is Brazil has that in a huge amount. So let's say the
Yeah,
US has 100 players in that level, Brazil has 10,000 players in that level. And
yeah,
then some players develop, some don't. And then Brazil gets all that depth that we see in the national team, which so many world class players, while the US is now. Do you follow the U.S. men's national team closely? Pulisic, Reina,
a little
West.
bit. I'm not too close to it, but I follow it a little bit.
You follow a little bit. Hopefully, we make it to the World Cup this time, so you can watch it too, along with Brazil.
Yeah,
Is it part of your dream to play in Europe? Is something personal that you want to, or you wouldn't care if you never had? Because I know some players, well, some do stay in MLS forever, and obviously MLS is not at that level that it wouldn't be the best if they stayed. But there are players that play in Brazil forever and high quality players, right? If you
Yeah,
look at Dudu from Palmeiras, for example, that's a player that to me would be in the U.S. men's national team, and he just stayed in the Brazilian league. Everton Ribeiro from Flamengo actually made it to the national team, and he went to, I think, Saudi Arabia or maybe China at one point, but
yeah.
he never really went to Europe, and so it is enough to stay in the Brazilian league. Is it a dream to build your career there, or you want to move abroad eventually?
So nothing specific, but I just want to play. Like, if I had the chance to go to Europe, obviously I would be more than happy. But it's also is part of my dream to play in Europe in a big club. You know, I feel like it's part of everyone's dream. But sometimes, you know, reality is like it's it's not. Uh, I don't know how to explain it, but
Mhm.
you know, yeah, it's part of my dream, of course.
Now, Mateus, that pretty much sums up everything I wanted to dive into. Usually, I end the interview when I have a dual national saying something to get them to join the U.S. men's national team. But again, for you, if Brazil calls you up one day, or the U.S. calls you up one day, or neither, whatever happens, right? We never know what's going to happen. To me, it doesn't matter. I'm Brazilian, I'm American, so whichever one you pick, you got my support if it ever happens, of course. And best of luck. Thank you very much once again. We'll keep in touch. And anything else you want to add?
Nah, it's just it was a good, you know, talk. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. You know, it's my first interview, so yeah, I'm pretty happy. You know.
Yeah, it's just the beginning. Wishing you the
Yeah.
best of success, and we'll keep in touch. Or we're going to keep everyone updated as well. Keep in touch
All
with
right.
us. Let us know when you sign a contract, if there's any moves. Thank you very much, Mateus.
Thank you for having me.